Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Wine. Welcome back to art class. Today we will be working to create two different background pages using watercolor washes. We'll be reviewing how to glaze different colors, and we will be doing all of this to create a mood for our self-portrait. So the first thing that you have to decide today is you have to decide a small group of colors that you are going to use to create a mood or a feeling for your self-portrait. How do you want people to feel when they look at your portrait? Do you want them to feel happy or excited or sad or calm or angry? And you have to think about what group of colors you can use to do that. Now, almost all of these examples use analogous colors. So analogous colors that we have learned before means that we're going to be using three colors that are side by side on the color wheel. The only exception to this that I see here is I do see this group that includes a lot of brown and grays. So I am going to give you one more vocabulary, and that's neutral. You could also choose a group of mostly neutral colors. Neutral would be gray, brown, and you can add one other color to that. Like here I see a little bit of pink or light red. So you could use neutral colors if you want, but most people are going to be using analogous. So you have to choose the three colors that you think will show your feeling, and the reason we're choosing analogous colors is that they blend well together. I think for my example today, I'm going to choose red, violet, and blue. I'm going to use this group of three colors. So once I know the colors that I'm going to use, I'm ready to start with my watercolor. I want to make sure that I have two pieces of watercolor paper. And today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating washes of color that I can glaze over top of each other. So remember, to create a wash of color, you need the key ingredient, which is going to be water. And I'm just going to take the three colors that I plan to use, and especially the dark colors, because I don't want them to get too dark too fast. I like to start by wetting my colors a little bit. I check to make sure that whoever used my paint tray last didn't leave it a mess. And then I'm ready to start creating a space for my washes. I'm going to put a little bit of purple into the tray lid. And then I'm just going to take my water and I'm going to drip some water down in there. Then I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm going to do the same thing with my other colors. So I'm going to take some blue, put it in the tray lid, and I'm going to drip some water down in there. That's just going to keep the color light and transparent, which is what I want a wash to be. I'm going to rinse my brush, check it on my napkin, and I'm going to do the same thing with the red. So some red in the tray lid. And a few drips of water. Now as I use this color, I might find that I need to come back and add more, but this is at least going to give me some to start. So now I'm ready to start creating the washes of color on my painting. And in order to do this, I'm going to be painting stripes of color on my page. I'm going to start first by painting some horizontal stripes. It doesn't matter which color I start with. And it also doesn't matter whether or not my stripes are the same thickness. I don't want them to be too dark, which is why I created the washes of color to start with. So I have to rinse between every color. And I come down and get a blue. Now I don't want those two colors to touch yet, because if they touch, they're going to blend and bleed together. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my purple. I can make some of the stripes thin. I can make some of them thicker. It is important that they go edge to edge all the way across the paper. And I'm just leaving a little bit of white space in between. I don't have to keep them in the same order. So I don't need to necessarily set up a pattern. I could even go back to the red. See right there, I've got a little bit of bleed. That'll be okay. And I just want to work my way all the way down the page. Cleaning my brush every single time. So I've left those little white spaces in the middle and worked my way all the way down my page. I do want to work fairly quickly, which should be pretty easy once I have all my colors mixed in my tray lid. I need one more. I think I'm going to go back with just a little bit of blue until I finish the page. Now, once I have finished that, I want to take this paper and I'm just going to set it aside so it can dry. I'm going to come back to it in just a moment. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on a paper, but now instead of painting going the short way, I'm going to paint my stripes and I'm going to make them go the long way across my paper. Same thing, I want to leave a little bit of white space in between there. Make a nice thick blue stripe. So nice and easy, nice and careful. And as I start to run out of colors in my paint tray, I might need to stop and quickly go back and mix a few more. I'm almost out of purple in my tray. See, I'm almost out. So maybe I take a moment, I come back, I get a little more purple, and then always just make sure to add a few drips of water in there because you don't want that purple to be too dark. If you start to paint and you were to notice that it's really, really dark, we don't want a wash to be dark. So if you would start to notice that it's really, really dark, you would just quickly add another drip of water. Doesn't matter if the lines are perfectly even. Almost done. And then once I'm finished with my second piece, I'm going to set it aside. So notice one paper has the stripes going across the long way, and the other paper has the stripes going across the short way. I left a little bit of white space in between so that those colors don't bleed together too much. So that's how I'm creating my washes of color. Now, as soon as I'm finished with both papers, I'm ready to go back and I'm ready to do some glazing. So remember, glazing is when you take two different watercolors and you color them on top of each other. It's going to help you make a new color. So in between, I can take just a moment, add some more paint, and then I'm ready to start glazing. So when I glaze, I have some different choices. I could come back and I could say, well, I have red and I have blue here, but I don't have any violet. So I can add that violet into the middle, and I don't want to work too long, but if I overlap the violet just a little bit, now you can see I have some areas that are plain violet, some areas that are red and violet, and some areas that are blue and violet. I could do the same thing here. I could say, okay, I have blue and I have violet, but I don't have red. So maybe I come back with a stripe of red in that area. And again, I want to be careful not to try to let the two wet colors touch each other. I could also say, well, I've got violet and red, but what happens if I add a little more red into that area? I'm going to get a red that's a little lighter and a little darker. And I just want to keep going until I have filled up my whole page with lots of stripes of analogous colors. I'm just going to continue glazing those colors until there are no areas that are completely white that are left. And I want to make sure that I do that with both papers. So as soon as I finish this one glazing across, I will do the other one. I can't wait to see the colors that you choose for your washes and your glaze. And until next time, keep on creating. When you're finished, don't forget the last step is to make sure that you clean out the lid of that paint tray so it's ready for the next person to use.